Hello everybody, welcome back or welcome to Ali So Crafty. I'm Ali, and in this channel I share with you some of the behind the scenes of my handmade business, as well as some sewing tutorials and just other little tutorials in between. Today I am going to finally record a video showing the measurements and how I make my labels using Canva. This is one of the questions that I've been getting the most in the comments. People asking, how do you make your labels? Like, what are the measurements? How do you use Canva? And I have the video here where I show you exactly how I make the labels for my products using quilting cotton and these, what are they called? Transfer heat paper. Heat transfer paper. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is open Canva. So I'm going to try to do this with the free program. You should be able to do it for free. But when you open Canva, you're going to click where it says create, and it's going to give you different options. I just type 8.5 by 11, and that gives me like the standard size for a paper, and that's it. That's usually how I do it. Now I have some labels that I've already created, but we're starting from scratch. Something else that I like to see here on my design is guides. So that is like anything that shows me the measurements on the page. So for that, I go to File. Oh, first and foremost, let's label this. Let's save it. So fabric labels. I'm just gonna name it that for now, for easy. But always make sure that make sure this is saving at all times and that you rename it. So files, and then settings, and then you're gonna show the rules and the guides. So here is the rule. You see 8.5 by, and then on this side is 0 to 11. Okay. Something else I like to do is sometimes here under settings, you can see add guides, and you can add 12 columns, 3 columns, 3 by 3, or custom. So here's where I most likely will be, putting the measurements for the labels. The labels, there's different sizes that you can use, so I suggest that you look in your, with a ruler and figure out which size you want your labels to be. So the labels that I usually make are about 1.5 inches wide by like 1/2 inch tall, I guess. So before I change the guides here, I'm going to add a little square. So the way I do that is literally you can press the letter R and you'll have an image. You don't have to do shift, you don't have to do control, you don't have to do command, option, nothing. All you do, let me delete this again so you can, is press the letter R in your keyboard and you'll have a shape. If you don't want a square, all you do is click edit, and then you can change the shape here to whatever you want. But I do want a square, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And also, so once you move it, as you see, and you move it to the corner, you will see this line, this rectangle shows up. This rectangle is your margin. Your margin, so when you print something, you know, if you're printing a document or anything like that, it will have that margin. And we can change that in a minute. So I move this to that corner where the margin is. With the square selected, okay? So if you click anywhere else on the paper, it's gonna deselect. But if you click on it, it will select it and you'll see the little dots and rectangles here. This is to help you change the shape. We're not gonna do that. Once it's selected, you will see this that says position. You're gonna click on that. And you're going to look here under advanced, arrange all the way to the bottom, advanced. You want to make sure the ratio is not locked. If you lock this and say you change this to 1 inch, it's automatically going to change to 1 inch and you're going to have a 1 inch square. It will automatically do that. But if you unlock this and I change it to 2, it didn't change the other. It changed the width, but not the height. And so now I have a 2 by 1 square. So what I want is 1.5 by 1/2 inch, so 0.5. 0, sorry, 0.5. And as you can see, it kept the shape because it's not locked. And I think that's good. Now, I can make this as tall. I mean, I can move this around if I want to, but I'm going to keep it under in the margin, okay? Okay, so that's my very first square. And you can make this wider here if you want to see it better, like on this bar, you can increase the percentage to make it, you know, to zoom in and zoom out. Once we're here, you have your guides. So I'm going to go back to File, Settings, and I don't want to lock the guides. Okay, back to Settings, Clear Guides. You can make your own guides by dragging this measurement kind of. So if you see, once I put my cursor here, it creates this double arrow. And all I have to do is click my mouse and drag. And I can drag it right there at the bottom of my rectangle. And then I can do the same on this side. Drag. Okay. Then I can do this again. And instead of leaving it right there, I can leave it maybe like a 1/4 inch more. And you can see how the numbers change on the little top purple rectangle. You see as I move the cursor, you can see that those numbers increasing and decreasing because those are the measurements. So technically, this line is at the 2.35 inches mark. So I want it to go like 2.5, and I can just put it right there. It doesn't have to be exact, but you get the idea. So now, once I know I have kind of like a 1/4 inch difference here, distance. This distance is important because you need to be able to cut your labels and, you know, give yourself some room in case you don't cut them straight. Ask me how I know. Okay. So once I do that, then I click on my rectangle again, and then these options here come up. And then you have here the duplicate. You click duplicate and you drag it to the other side of the guide. And then this guide moves down. Okay. And so now we pretty much do the same thing. So it's about 4.25 somewhere in there. Duplicate. And I'm going to duplicate this again. Okay, and kind of like the system knows to do it for me. Then we're going to do the same here on the bottom. So we're going to leave some room and then duplicate to the bottom. And when I click duplicate, again, it puts it, I can move it around. You see how it's doing it for me? It's not exact, but we can, move it around any way you want to. And at this point, you have to test and see when you print this, if maybe you can print it all the way to the edge. That will save you some paper. You can get the most out of your labels, right? If you want the labels to be a little bit bigger, you can again click R, or I click type R, and then we go position. So this one is 2.5 by 2.5, and say I want my label to be, I don't know, okay, let's say I want my label to be double. Okay, so I want to have my logo on both sides of the label. So I'm gonna do it also 1.5 by 1. So this one is gonna be width 1.5, and the height is gonna be 1. See, they're a little bit wider. See how I'm not doing anything. I just kind of gave Canva the guide of approximately how much distance I want in between the rectangles. So when I move it around, it kind of shows me, oh, if you put it here, it's the same distance. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it right there. If you don't want these to move, you can just highlight them all with your mouse. And this is like left click on your mouse, select them all, and then you can lock them here. And now they're locked. They're not going anywhere. Okay, that way you can be sure that you're not going to be moving them around. And so now I'm just going to duplicate these, same thing. Okay. And now I have two different types of labels, the 1 by 1/2 and the 1.5 by 1. Okay, usually I don't have my labels in blue. This is when, I kind of change the colors a little bit. I try to change the background of the paper, the color, to contrast my label so it's easier for me to cut it. So what I usually do is that I do gray. Let me change yeah, no, this one. Okay. I do the gray, okay? And then my labels are going to be white. And so I unlock it, because if I don't unlock it, it's not going to work. And then I change it here to white. And then I have the option here to change all. And I want to do that. So I click change all. And it changed the ones that were not locked. So you want to unlock it. Okay, you can also select them all and unlock, but because they're locked, they're not going to change color, position, anything. So now we're going to do the same, change the color, change all, perfect. So I have my labels here. And like I said, I keep the background color a little bit different so that I can easily cut them when it's time to print. You can make it closer to each other. You can, this part, it's your creative side. You can do whatever you want. But basically, you're going to have to test these a lot, because like I mentioned, you may be able to print it all the way from edge to edge. So that really will save you on paper, in material, and everything, right? That's the point. But right now, I just want to show you like the guides and how I determined the sizing. So now if you have a logo, you can upload your logo. No, that's not it. Sorry. Okay, where's my logo? Brand logos. Okay, well, I already have this logo, but I don't. Okay, let me do this other logo. Do I have the logo? Yes. Um, so I kind of already have a square logo that you can just pretty much put on top of your rectangle. But if you don't have a logo, or if you want to add something else, an image, say a heart, you can just type heart and look for, the free hearts or whatever. And you can just add, okay, add a little heart and put it in the corner if you want. You can just do whatever you want. In this case, I'm just going to type the name of my business. So I go to text. I have some of the fonts here saved, but if you want a specific font or whatever, another shortcut is to press the letter T on your keyboard. That's it, the letter T. And when you do that, a text box comes up. And then you can change the font here to whatever you want, whatever you have saved. And I like this. Okay, so I'm just going to type Ali So Crafty.
Consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel if you have learned something today.
But again, at this point, you will add text or your logo or whatever it is that you want to add for your label. Okay, that's kind of move it around a little bit. I may just add my logo actually. Where is the logo? They change these things all the time. I think they have people at these companies that have nothing else to do but to look around. What can we change today? Things that work perfectly fine. Now, if you have a logo like I do that already is in a white background, already has a rectangle shape, you don't have to add all these squares. You can literally just add your logo and resize it. You see how easy that was? And I can just click on my image position and resize it to whatever image I want. So 1.5 by, say, I want it exactly to be 50. Well, that may not work because of my logo. But you see what I'm saying? You can just, it doesn't matter, like a little bit of, instead of 1/2 inch, make it like, 5/8 of an inch. It's not going to be a big difference, right? So that's it. That is way easier. And if I want to make this front and back, like when you fold the label, you have front and back, you can just also add the logo, make it smaller, turn it here, right? And for this type though, you need to make sure that you leave some room on the edges for the seam allowance. And this you can actually flip, no, not like that, sorry. Flip like this. So when I highlight the image, this little circle shows up to flip it. So you can flip it. So you want to leave some room here to also, for the seam allowance. And you can probably make, like, this is the center. This is the center. So just, move it around. And that's why you use the guide. Because if you see here, as I'm moving things around, I can see the shadow on the guide here. So it kind of gives me the position. And I can also click on the position and it will tell me the position that this label is in. Okay. And then I have my label where I can actually flip it and fold it and use it for both sides. If you have a phrase, like in my case, I'm making labels, not because I need the logo, because I have plenty of those. I'm going to add inside the bag a Bible verse. So I want to add a Bible verse. So I'm going to, let me change the size on this. I'm going to just simply type. Okay, why can't I? Okay, here. A Bible verse, and it's Psalms 34:5. And of course, you can change the font. You can change whatever you want, your brand, font, whatever. See, I don't like that. I like that better. You know, so you just choose whatever you want, and that is it. That is all I want, really. That is all I want. Now, I may want it a little bit bigger, to be honest with you. So now that you know how to do all of this, and I'm really not going to need my logo for this project, I'm actually going to delete all of these because I don't need them, and all of these. I actually want my label to be a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. I feel like 1/2 inch sometimes it's a little bit difficult to sew. I don't know. I like it a little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna do 0.6, believe it or not. Like that little bit, but that little bit will make a difference. You see how it changed? So what I do is that I type, say, 0.5, and then I hit enter, and it automatically changes. So here on the height, 0.6, hit enter, and it moved. And then I can move the guides a little more. Okay. And I feel like it has just a little more room. Um, Let me change the other one, enter. Now, I have not figured out a way to do this for all of them at once. If you know, please let me know. But here's how I do it. Okay, and I feel like there's a lot of distance here. Like I can literally get more out of my paper here if I get these a little bit closer to each other. And as you notice, you don't really need to do the guides all across the paper, because once you set your guides, the system knows those are the measurements that you want for all of them. Okay. And so I have Psalms 34:5. I feel like I need to add something else. Let me see maybe I should add a heart. Or a star, a glow. Oh yeah. Let me see. Glowing. Okay, this is the part that you get. This is the fun part when you get creative. Well, a star. Um, because it's radiant. She's radiant, but I don't want it to be yellow. Um, this is cute because it kind of has some dimension, but it's kind of big. It's too big, and this is a small tag. I mean, it's going to be printed, but anyway, so let's see that, let me make it bigger because I need to see what I'm doing. Okay. And I'm going to I'm going to change the color and my mellow glow. Should I do that color or should I do the pink? It doesn't really matter because my machine will print it any color. But I think I'm gonna, black is not good. No. I don't know if I want that. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Let me try this for now. This is kind of plain though. But this is the design part, okay? This is when you start designing and you decide what you want. But again, Easy, easy, easy. Um, so let's say that I want this to be all the way here, kind of like to the very edge. Okay. Okay, it didn't pick up the, okay, and I just need to move the guides. Now these guides are invisible. They're not gonna show when you print this or anything. And you in fact can delete these if you want to. And the way to delete them is just to remove them like this, and they're out of the way. And then you can duplicate this and probably get a little bit, get one more at least on your sheet of paper. And then you can highlight them all, duplicate, move them here, and voila, they're done. And then you can just duplicate all of them, and or add hearts or add handmade, or let me see, we can do handmade, and then you can add a little heart. Yeah, keep going back to the heart. Photos, no, graphics. This is a cute heart. This is kind of cute. I actually like this little heart in pink like that. So I just don't want it to be right at the edge, because that's when you need room also to stitch it. So actually I like that. I like having it like in the back. Yeah, that's cute. And then handmade. So now you see how the heart is over the handmade word. To change that, I go to positions, but here you go to layers and you find the word handmade and the heart, and then you just drag the word handmade to the top, and now it's on top. It's really easy. I mean, Canva has really made it really easy. I mean, to do this type of work. So, okay, now I'm messing it up. Okay, there you go. Handmade. I just want to give some room for the stitch line. And okay, I like that. So that's what I'm going to do. That's it. And then I'm just going to copy, 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 copy all of it, and make a whole sheet. And I can probably highlight them all, group them together, and then go to position, arrange, and center it. You see how it centers it for me? So now I have the even space here and here. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to highlight them all with my mouse, left click, group them, okay? And then here under position, arrange, center. And now they're all center. Okay, so let's pretend I'm getting ready to print this so that you can see how I do that. I click where it says share, and I'm going to download it. But here's the thing. You have to download it as PDF print, best for printing. So it's going to be a PDF file that is going to be best for printing. Now you can do RGB, which is kind of like printing link, printing, what do you say? Vocabulary. Or for professional printing, you have to have Canva's, the paid option. If you don't have that, you can just do best for digital use. If it's black and white, that's usually what I do, best for digital use. But because I want to have those pink hearts, I'm going to do professional. And you can flatten the PDF. It's This is going to make the PDF larger. So I don't know if that's going to work or not. I've never done that. And then you just download it. and you select where on your computer you want it to download. And I'm not going to do it on the church thing. Okay, but Ali's so crafty. Let's pretend that we're putting it there. Fabric labels, and now I can see them on my PDF, and you can just print them any way your printer prints. So if I want to send it to the printer, see, that's how it's going to show. Of course, I will have all this page full, and then you can select, you know, your. I usually do 100%, no matter what printer it is, and do your media quality. You know, I would do the best in photo paper. Just look at the instructions on the heat transfer paper and your printer, your own printer. It will change based on your printer. But that's it, you guys. That is how you make your own labels. It's really easy. Again, you can just do R for any shape you want, and pretty much change the label by going here in the position. I asked ChatGPT, give me some standard labels. Square logo label is 1.5 by 1.5. So you can just do 1.5 by 1.5. And there you go. You have a standard logo here. Folded labels are 0.6 by 2. So you can do another one, you know, 0.6, whoops, sorry, 0.6 by 2. So, that's an interesting size label. I don't know, you fold it, I guess, down the center. You can also, you see, when you have, if you want to mark the center on something and you're not sure, like, how does it look? Where's the middle? You know, um, you can drag a guide and it will it will stop you. I want you to realize that it will kind of stop you down the middle. Um, it will kind of change the color here. If you notice here on the side of the guide is purple, but when it gets to the center is fuchsia, and then it keeps on going, you know, and that's where it ends. So it got to the center, and that's it. So it gives you a lot of help to determine, you know, the sizing. Like this one, it just, like, this is the center, you know. And of course you can always place your image in a position where you know is like the beginning of the inches. Like, for example, if I'm moving this, as I move it, you should see the gray here on the bar. As I move it, I can put it beginning on number 3 to 5. And so that way, when I do see how it finds the middle? It's 3.998. It's pretty close to the exact center, right? It's because probably this is not exactly where it's supposed to be, but it will find the middle for you. So I think, yeah, so pretty easy. And then you can just add whatever text, whatever images you want, and print your labels. So that I have decided that I want them all to look the same, and I want the heart, and I just want Psalms 34:5, right? Psalms 34:5. Let me double check. Those who look to him are radiant with joy. Their faces will never be ashamed. That's it. Psalms 34:5. That's what I want. I am just going to duplicate this. So I leave this right here and I'm going to group them together, and then I'm just going to duplicate them. And as I duplicate them, you know, they automatically find their place. And so once I did that, I mean, I can delete this and I can even delete this. Okay, perfect. So I now highlight them all and I group them together and I duplicate them and I just drag them down. And there you go. And I want to make sure they're centered. So I go to position, arrange, center. If they were not, let me click on this group, center, and I don't even have to highlight the whole thing because they are already grouped together. And now I'm just going to highlight them all, duplicate, and continue to do that all the way to the bottom of the page. And this is going to give me how many? I have 5 per row. How many rows? Oh, it's quite a bit of rows. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 rows. Okay, so that's like what? 5 por 4, 25, 70? 70? So that, yeah, this gives me 70 labels. That's quite a bit. That's plenty for now. And I'm actually really happy how they turned out. So I'm gonna save. Well, this automatically saves. So that's it. I'm going to download them. Download PDF printing. And I'm gonna do that. Best for printing, download. And it's probably gonna save them. Yeah, I'm gonna rename them Psalms. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna print them now and show you the final look. Here's how it looks. Uh, right off the print. Anyway, as you can see, I have a lot of the gray around the border. I can definitely, instead of having all this gray around the border, I can have more labels. I could probably push this up and maybe squeeze another row of labels here, and have 75 instead of 70. I definitely can do that. Yes. But this is how it looks. It looks really, really good. Look how cute the labels are and the little heart. And I printed it on the instructions say photo paper and all that, but all that is on that other video. So you can watch that other video. But now I'm going to add them to my fabric, cut them, and get them ready for the project, the keychain wallets that I'm working on. And I will show you that shortly. Here's the final result of the label, how they look. So this is the originals that I made, a few months ago with just my logo. And here are the ones that we just made together on the inside of my bag. So when people open the little bags, this is like the keychain wallets that I'm making. When they open them, the first thing they see is Psalms 34:5. And so that's one. Here's the other one I made, super cute. Same thing, when you open it, there it is, Psalms 34:7. I mean 34:5, not 34:7. But there you go. That's how they look. Here's another one. They turned out really, really nice. I like that the pink showed perfectly on the label. And I may try doing something else, like maybe like with the stars in yellow or something. But I think this is gonna be really, really cute. So I hope you enjoyed, and this was an easy tutorial for you. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you want me to, clarify anything from the video. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao.